Okay, so thank you for accepting my proposal. Actually, this is more about free software in general, not just for education, but for every kind of software. We know that we had over the years, we had very significant migrations to free software in Europe, also in South America in some areas, some smaller ones in other countries. But in Europe, we had some significant experiences. And unfortunately, we had some significant failures. So some of these were just migration horrors, as I call them. Freiburg, they moved to free software during the Easter weekend. On a Thursday night, the employees left with Microsoft Office installed on their computers, and on Tuesday morning, they were back with OpenOffice on their computers. No manuals, no emails that said, we are going to change the software. So in a country where software piracy was down to 3%, after 6 months, 98% of the employees of the Freiburg city had a pirated copy of Microsoft Office on their PC. So this is an horror. Emilia-Romagna, another horror. In 2012, with a clear open source software and a clear project targeted to kill the open source project, I'm referring to LibreOffice and Apache OpenOffice, they decided to move to Apache OpenOffice after 2 years, because there were some geniuses in Italy that said that IBM was backing the project, and not knowing how American companies behave, IBM had a budget for 3 years, and when the project failed miserably in 2014, they abandoned Apache OpenOffice, which is now kept alive only by the I have a personal judgment, but let's say that Apache Software Foundation is keeping a software alive for no reason at all, showing that in addition to their proprietary, basically what people call permissive, and I call predatory license, they are not a friend of open source, they're a friend of large companies. This is a personal, of course, a personal opinion, not the opinion of many people. So that was another migration horror. Canton Solothurn was similar in the sense that people that decided to move to free software were completely abandoned by the free software movement. So they asked for help, but they never received support from the community. And of course, behind the scenes, we have a giant company working to revert every migration, which is Microsoft, and they couldn't resist the attack. Then we had two clear Microsoft lobby examples. In Munich, the first one, the most known, where they worked behind the scenes for almost 10 years until the mayor that decided to move to free software ended his second mandate, and then they paid the electoral campaign to both candidates of the next election. And as at that time there was the Grosse Koalition in Germany, one was the mayor and one was the deputy mayor. So you can imagine the first interview that the mayor did after the election, at the question, can you introduce yourself? He answered, I'm a supporter of Windows, we will move back to Microsoft. So the question could be how many children you have, and the answer would have been, I'm a fan of Windows and we will move back to Microsoft. City of Pesaro, the mayor at the time was a close friend of Matteo Renzi, and we know that where Matteo Renzi is, there is Microsoft. Is bought the first 12 license of Microsoft 365. At the time it was called in a different way. 1 year before the product was available, just because it was ending his mandate and he wanted to have the software in the city of Florence. Today he is actively lobbying for Microsoft, although he's a member of parliament, so he is basically doing something which is not allowed by the Italian constitution, but we know that in Italy the constitution, which is wonderful, it's ignored by the majority. And the Ministry of Defense was probably the only example where the migration got the support of the community, but unfortunately, then the contact retired. And when the contact retired, no one was brave enough to take their task. And they, at the end, they maintained LibreOffice and Microsoft Office for a number of years, but at the moment they are buying Microsoft Office licenses. In addition, UK decided to migrate to ODF, but the uptake was slow because of passive resistance, which of course is as an incentive from behind. Comunidad Valenciana and Extremadura in Spain, they decided to migrate, but they were abandoned by the FOSS community. The FOSS community was very good at saying, oh, we have two big migrations, but then they didn't make any, they didn't help the two communities. And I can tell you that these people, when they decide to move to free software, they need a lot of energy behind themselves, because they have a lot of, they can be sure that they have a lot of energy against them by the proprietary world. And the French government has not been supported enough by the FOSS community, although they still use free software on many ministries, but I think the community could support them better than it's actually doing. What we did wrong. In some cases, we discuss about details, which distribution to use, which software to install, which bit was better than the other one, instead of talking business with people. When someone migrates to free software, it's a business decision. It's not a decision based on principles. They have to run an organization. And an organization is business, even if the software doesn't cost anything. The organization has objectives and needs support. So these people need support. These people need to be supported by marketing and communication activities. Show how much these people are smart. Instead of celebrating the migration, we should celebrate the people and support them and provide them additional information to make their decision look smart to their bosses, because they have bosses. For instance, and we celebrate migrations too soon, like in Munich. Munich was a big win. Munich moves to free software, and we completely neglected the fact that Microsoft was preparing the return. And so when the decision of going back to Windows was announced, the free software community was completely unprepared because it was not working in the right sense. What we should do? I think we should recognize that we are a strategic industrial sector worth at least $100 billion per year, like analysts say. And a strategic software industry needs to behave in a different way. We have principles, we have ethics, and I completely second this, and people that know me know that I am serious about principle and ethics, but then we have to talk business with people. Sorry, we have founding fathers that cannot be presented in a business environment. We know why. Let's make statues, but not bring them to, when there is a migration, sorry, Richard Stallman should never be presented to I've seen Richard Stallman with a dirty T-shirt speaking to the to the president of Regione Puglia that wanted to decide to move to free software. Guess what? After the meeting, they never migrated to free software. The leader of a movement that represents software cannot show up with a dirty T-shirt in a business environment. Whatever he says is not credible. I'm not telling that he has to wear a jacket and a tie, but you have to be in a business attire, even if very, very informal, but you have to be recognized as a leader. So my request is that let's start, do not forget the principles, do not forget the freedom, but these are, people understand them after. The first thing that they understand is that free software is gratis. Sorry. The word shouldn't be used, but this is the reality. So people adopt the trigger for migration is that they don't pay for the software. Then once they have the software in place, they realize the advantages because they start working with the software. They start meeting the community. They start understanding the values. But the first mover is cost. So let's talk about security. For instance, we never talk about security because we say, of course the software is secure. Yes, of course they don't know that the software is secure. They think that Outlook is secure. Come on, people that think that Outlook is secure are totally incompetent in terms of security, 100% incompetent. Outlook is the worst piece of software ever developed by a human being with 2 legs and 2 arms. I don't want to offend anyone, but the developers of Outlook are criminals. And Outlook is a key pillar of Microsoft strategy in terms of software. We all know how many open vulnerabilities has Microsoft Office. Do you think that people that deploys Microsoft Office knows about the vulnerabilities? When I talk with Digit people in Brussels, when they were discussing the Cyber Resilience Act, and I showed them a comparison of vulnerabilities between LibreOffice and Microsoft Office, they looked at me and said, but you're joking. No, I'm not joking. This is the reality. We have 1/10 of vulnerabilities, and all of them are solved, luckily, before the software gets to the user. Microsoft Office has 10 times the vulnerability of LibreOffice, and 10% of these vulnerabilities are on the software deployed by users. And this is a factor, numbers. You cannot joke with numbers. So let's start talking with the numbers that we can show to these people. Let's start talking in a serious way. And I think that we will celebrate more migrations to LibreOffice than we had in the past. Because in the past we have made mistakes. Let's not repeat the mistakes in the future. Let's try to be business people in a business environment. There's nothing bad in being ethical business people if there are unethical business people. We are ethical business people. Let's talk like ethical business people. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Italo. Now it's time for some questions from your side. If there is no question, okay, one question.
Very
clear. Thank you for this talk. And I have one question about it. Where do I get these numbers about, for example, with the CVEs for the comparison to talk with the business people in that way? Because I sometimes don't see that we prepared for this stuff.
Yeah, but unfortunately, you know, you have to be prepared according to the environment you are working in. It is unfortunate that we have one of the best companies in marketing and in communication against free software, which is Microsoft. All the others are just mimicking Microsoft. I mean, I can talk for 8 hours about what Microsoft has done wrong over the years. We have to be, you know, the people we are talking to have been uneducated by Microsoft for at least 20 years. So we have to talk to people that are uneducated using the language they are used to. And then we can educate them to use a different language. But unfortunately, if you talk, you use only the messages of open source to people that is just listen to the completely different messages for the entire their life, you are on two different plans, and you never cross each other. So it's something that we have to learn to do. It's something that is not easy, but doing business is not easy. Developing free software is not easy. I'm not a developer, but developing good free software is not easy. So we have difficult task in front of us, but I don't think we can escape the difficult task, unfortunately, because otherwise, you know, free software will always be where people don't speak about free software. In the infrastructure, no one knows that everyone is running free software because servers are Linux-based, or why on the desktop there is a majority of proprietary software? Because on the desktop there are $50 billion with 95% net profit, which is just unbelievable. So $50 billion with 95% net profit means $47.5 billion profit net. They have huge amount of money to do marketing. But we are smarter, so we have to use our... I've created an English word. We have to outbrain our opponents, so be more intelligent and smarter. We usually are, but we have to be, not only when we develop software or we do things on the software, we have to be this also in public and in business environment.